So what we did before we'll Day-2 on this side range 10.2.0.0.16 and VPC ID we have copied here. We created two subnets, one for the public, one for the private. Okay, as I said yesterday, it is just for the namesake, it is public and private, but it is any subnet can be anything, right? So unless until I define the routing, route tables, and some security policies, right? So let's do the uh, we need to create the two instances as well. Okay, and I said IGW Internet Gateway. If you want to go out, you need to create for each VPC, you need to create one internet gateway as well. Okay, so let's first do the instance creation and the internet gateway creations. Okay, first put this one gateway here also. Okay, and I will say IG2 for example. Okay, and I will just create a connection here. That's it. Let's create the internet gateway also quickly. We go to the internet gateway. Okay, by the way, there is another gateway called the egress only gateway. Okay, name suggests it is also for the internet access, only go out. With the internet gateway you are able to come inside also into the cloud, right? Because that's why we are able to do the RDP and the SSH, but egress is only for the internet access. Okay, so we are not doing that right now. So let's create another internet gateway. Okay, and let's name it as WPV IGW2. So this is your.
In which scenario we use the egress internet gateway?
Egress, you can do this. By the way, this egress gateway was not there before. Okay, they have very recently they have added this egress gateway. Okay, so egress gateway you might use it as just outbound internet access. That's it, not for the inbound connection. Okay, so we will see that. Okay, we will see that. So web prod VPC and IGW2. Okay, let's create this. Let's see WPV. Okay. Attach this. Before I do that, let me see. Instance public gateway lose. Okay. Did I say previously attach VPC NACL internet and attach? Okay, we said attach to the VPC, right? So that task is there. So we have create. It said detached. We will say actions. We will say attach to the VPC, and we will attach this to the second VPC. Okay, that's the only VPC available because first one is already consumed. All right, this is attached now. Okay, so
Actually,
now
cannot attach more than one internet gateway to VPC.
Then one you can have, but why will you have?
So in case if I want to send, like in your example, the subnet 2, I want to use another internet gateway. I can create it, right?
No, it's internet gateway is only attached with the VPC, right?
Oh, not
After
with the
that
sub.
you
Okay.
after that you are defining the routing, right? Route table. Route table is telling for this particular subnet or subnets go to this internet gateway. Correct.
Okay.
So we will have to do that step. Otherwise, it's not going to.
But for resiliency, I cannot have one more gateway for VPC.
Oh, by the way, okay. By the way, these internet gateways are redundant in their nature natively. Okay, they are, even though you are seeing that them as just one gateway, they are not one gateway. In the backend, there are 3 gateways.
Oh.
Okay, they are highly resilient. The AWS infrastructure is very.
Okay, one internet gateway you are attaching to one VPC means we are by natively providing the resiliency as well.
Natively you are highly resilient. These internet gateway, they are service, so you're not doing much into this, right? You're not configuring it also. You're just attaching to the VPC. There's no configuration in the internet gateway. Did you see any configuration?
No
It's just the
configuration.
internet connection. So they are, natively they are resilient. So they are, 2 or 3 in total in different availability zones also. Okay. All right. So where were we? So routing table. So let's do the routing table. So previously we created 2 routing tables, one for the private subnet of VPC1, one for the public subnet. Okay. So likewise, we will create similar to this. Okay. So let's first copy the name.
So the last one, hash is the default VPC2 routing table, right? Which one? Which you are
There will
showing?
be a default routing table. So you see that here,
Yeah, correct.
web so that
Okay.
will always be created. Okay. So we just rename it so that
Yeah.
there's no confusion. Okay. So I'll say default route table for web prod VPC2. So we are not touching this one. Okay. So we are not using this one. Okay. So see, previously also there is no subnets associated here, right? It's just there. Okay. So we will create 2 now, one for the private, one for the public. Okay. So and we will do the exactly same kind of things. Okay. But we will create the VPC peering in shortly. Okay. So in the private subnet, you see that there is no routing defined. There's just native routing, which is for this prefix, that particular prefix of that VPC subnet, and locally routed, right? In public, we define additional for the internet access. So likewise, we will do here. Okay. So let's first do the private subnet routing table. Let's create for the VPC2. So I will say web prod VPC2 private subnet 1 RT1. Okay, same thing, and attached to the VPC2. Correct? Got it? And just create it. And we'll create one more for the public subnet. So I'll just copy the name here and create it. And I'll say VPC2 public subnet 1. Okay, so VPC2. Then we need to associate the subnets to these. Okay, otherwise 3 subnets we did previously for the 3 private subnet, 3 public subnet. So similarly, we will just refresh it and we will do the same thing here. Okay. For default, we are not bothering. So default, I don't know whether we can remove it. Delete router. Let's remove the default one. We don't need that basically. I don't know. Okay, main router cannot delete it. So as I said yesterday, some things you cannot default. So route table is one which you cannot default. Remove that. Okay. So VPC2 private subnet. Okay, actually I should have renamed it as, instead of 1, I should have renamed it as SN subnet, not, because there were 3 subnets in total, right? So we associated it. Okay, fine. We'll keep it as. Okay. So let's associate the subnets. Okay. So right now in the private, so let's associate the subnet. First see the routes. So you see that 10.2.00 locally switched. Okay. So that is there by default. Okay. So let's do the association and edit subnets. And let's attach the, so today we created only one subnet. Okay. So one public and private. So let's attach the private subnet here. Save association. Okay, and let's do the same for the associate one subnet here, one public subnet here. Okay, so concept is same. You're doing one subnet or 3 subnets, your concept will remain same, right? So I have explicitly associated these 2 subnets. So this is subnet ID, by the way. Okay, so here 3 subnets, here only. So we have done one part. Okay, now we need to do the this subnet. We need to change the routing, default route 000. Correct. So local route is there. We need to add the 000 and we need to tell it. See, you remember that you were asking what is the egress only internet gateway. So this is, we can also say egress only internet gateway. Okay, if you want, I can show you. So right now we are going to do the internet gateway here. Okay, and what internet gateway? IGW2, correct? So now save. So we have done now what we have done so far. We have created VPC, we have created two subnet, one public, one private. We have created internet gateway, we have done the routing so that they can go out. Okay, now few things are pending. One is so let's go to one of the machines. Okay, let's go to this machine now, 20.0. Okay, let's see what happens. So previously I was not able to connect for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, I'm there now. No, it's not. It's disconnected. Looks like. Session here. I'm connected. So sometimes you know that there are always some problems, you know, for some reason. Okay, and also see net is chat minus my port 23 never worked basically. Remember that telnet thing I was doing? So do service start telnet dot socket. It says that it is there, it is starting, but okay, we'll see that later. Okay, we are on this machine. Okay, from this machine I am trying to ping. Okay, there is no machine created, so let's create the two machines here. So I will create both the Linux machine, okay, here and here both. Okay, so let's create the Linux machine here. Where are we? So one Linux machine in the VPC private subnet, VPC to private subnet, one in the VPC to private public subnet. Okay, so instances, will go to instances and we, okay. All right, so let's name them now. Time to give them name. So public subnet 1, I'll say what is this? VPC 3, VPC 2, right? Subnet 1, let's say server 1, for example. Okay, and here this one will be public subnet, sorry, VPC 2 private subnet 1, and I'll say server 1. Okay, so let's create the for the public first, save it, and here I'll give it this name. So web prod VPC2 public subnet 1 server 1 I am creating, and I'm creating Linux, Amazon Linux. Okay, and free tier I am choosing as AMI, and instance type also I'm choosing free tier T2. Again, I can create a new one, but it's always good practice to just retain the same one so that you know unnecessarily so many information. Okay, so keep here, and after that network settings. So first we need to choose the VPC. So VPC and subnet we are doing the public, just to make sure. Okay, so there will be two subnet, one private, one public. So we choose the public subnet, yeah, and public IP, because we are in the public IP, let's give some enable the public IP. Okay, and yesterday we said we will do the elastic public IP so that you don't lose the public IP. Security group we have already created. No, we haven't created any security group.
No, we haven't.
So we can create this. So that's a good idea. So let's quickly do that. Okay, we can create from there also. We just know that, right? What's happening? Why? Okay, there's security group, public and private. Okay, and let's copy this one. Start the inbound rule in the private. private inbound rule is, it is saying that from this security group you are allowed all the traffic. Okay, outbound rule any. So let's create the for the private subnet first, and VPC2. Okay, private subnet security group 1, and description is same, and select a VPC where we are attaching it to VPC2, right? And by default it is saying that all traffic, inbound, this is outbound rule, all traffic to outside is allowed, and inbound there is, where is the inbound rule here? Yeah, inbound rule, there is no inbound rule. Let's define inbound rule, and we will say all traffic. Okay, all traffic, and sorry, where is all traffic from, from this security group you are allowed. Okay, this security group. So our security 09E, and 09E, where it is coming. Okay, let's save it and see what happens. So what is the security group ID here? 9A1. Okay, so that's what I was looking at, whether I did wrong or right. So I did wrong, because anyways we have to allow this also, but right now I'm just looking at the, so because that security group was not created, that's why it was not showing. So this one, okay, what this was, that was default security group. So I'm saying from this particular security group you are allowed communication, okay, in this VPC. Now we create the security group for the public subnet also. So let's first copy the name, public subnet, this one, previous name, and rules we'll see in a minute. Let's create the first one. Okay, so description will to the VPC2. Okay, outbound rule any, inbound rule, let's say first of all from all traffic from this. Okay, we can't, because this is not created yet. So let's create the security. Okay, because we said all traffic, so that's why it is not coming. Let's utility it. Okay, create it, and inbound rule, let's create the inbound rule. Add rule, all traffic from the newly created private public subnet security. Okay, so you are allowed basically here. Okay, all right. So security group we have created, but we haven't given permissions yet. Okay, but we will attach. So we are doing the public one here first of all. Machine we are creating. So public security group which we just created, we will select it here. Okay, refresh. Yeah, so public subnet security group, this one. So let's select this one. Okay, and create the instance here. Okay, and we will create another instance. Okay, so instance will go, and we will create another instance, and this time the instance will be private instance. Okay, instance name will be the server, private subnet server. Okay, name, okay, so private subnet 1, SRV 1, Linux machine, blah blah blah, and so you can same thing. We'll select the same key pair, and this section we will edit. We'll say VPC2, and this time we'll select the private subnet. Okay, which is already selected. Okay, there is no dynamic, no public IP for private subnet. Select the, did we select the private public IP address? We did, right? So private subnet security group will click, and we'll say launch this instance, and we'll see the instances here. So if you go instances, refresh it. So now we got private subnet which is pending. VPC2 public subnet, it is running. It's still initializing, and just see the networking here, and must make sure that we have the public IP address here. Okay, yeah, I created the public IP address. Okay, all right. Okay, so what we are now is
when you are attaching internet gateway for VPC, then why we are attaching the security gateway for this instance that you're creating?
security gateway is the
Security
firewall.
group.
Security gateway is a firewall. Okay.
Okay.
Security group, it's not a gateway. Security group is a firewall, or routing table is the routing, how it will go out.
Okay.
So they are two different things. Okay, so don't get confused. Okay. Did somebody join? Okay, I heard something. Okay, so we have created the instance, and let's see that first of all I am able to access the public instance of this one. Okay, and first I will public server this one. I will record its information in my this thing here so that I know what I'm doing here. So this I taught you about how this permission work, right? This you don't need to do that. So I created another WPV. So server 1, public IP address and private IP address, just make a note of it here, and likewise private server also I'll just make a note. Private subnet. So obviously there will be none. And let's see what is my IP details. So public IP is this one. Okay, obviously it will change when I reboot or restart the server, but it's for mine. And also make a note of the net, this one. So everything is as per our understanding, 10.2 10 and 10.2 1. Yes, so try to connect this public server from my laptop. It will not connect because I think I'm not allowed all these security. First let's give the authentication. So this, let's say new. Okay, let that thing again and again, that this thing. Okay, let's see what happens. So I can't access, is not allowing me. So let's go to the security group first. Okay, so we go to security groups. So we have done the routing table. So routing table is correct. Routing table in terms of your VPC2, we said public subnet, we said to go outside internet, go through IGW, right? And inside we can locally switch, and also for the private subnet, locally we can switch, right? 10.2.00. Yeah, 10.2.00. Okay, now we need to do the security groups. Security group, we are looking for the public subnet security group of the VPC2 first. Okay, so okay, let's name them also. The okay, so we'll name them W2 PVT. And this one was default, so I will name that also. This one. So default, we will name this as default default RT. We will name broad VPC2. Okay, doesn't matter, but let's give it simple. Oh, sorry, RT. Okay, SG I need to give. Security better. Okay, so we are now working on this one. So this one, okay, so these two we are trying to edit. So first one we are trying to edit this one. So let's go to the inbound rule. So inbound rule, currently we are allowing only from this security group communication, right? Own security group. So what are the security group we have? We can allow from. So we are allowing DF4. So DF4 is your this one security group. So own security group, right? So let's say that we want to allow. Okay, so, uh, we want to allow the SSH, right? From anywhere. Number one. Okay, and we want to allow. What else we want to allow here? Okay, let's allow only SSH for now. Okay, the save rule. Now see what happens. So I should be able to now connect to this new machine. Ideally, yes, I am. Okay, and if I do EC2 user, I am inside the brand new machine, and let's just double check the IP address which I noted here. So I am on the 10.2.10.95. So 10.2.10.95. Correct. So I am in this machine now, and this machine should be able to go out also. Yeah, I can go out. Okay, but I cannot communicate between the. I can ping this one 10.2.1.163. Actually, ping is not allowed, but let's see that 163 is not allowed. Okay, so I keep it pinging. What I will do, so first thing first, I will allow all the communication between the security groups, public and private. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that, so I am in the private security group. So previously in my VPC1 private security group, the public security group, what did we allow here? So we allowed as an inbound rule on the public subnet. We said, if I edit here, so within that security group 960 was your public one. So we said within public subnet you are allowed everything. RDP you are allowed from everywhere. SSH you are allowed from everywhere. ICMP you are allowed from everywhere. Custom TCP 23 are allowed. So let's allow the ICMP. Okay, for example here. So and let's allow the ICMP and the private subnet. What did private sub? So private subnet inbound rule 960. 960 is your public subnet. So from the public subnet, I'm allowed to access it, okay, but not within that. Okay, so what I'm saying here is that everything from the own security group, which was my private subnet security group, I'm allowed everything, all traffic, okay, and then I will allow, okay, I'll allow all traffic. Not okay, ICMP from everywhere. Okay, ICMP everywhere. So this one I'm working on the VPC1 private subnet. Okay, this one I worked on. Okay, so let me work on the new one which I created just now. Private subnet. This one. Let me here. Own security group. I'm allowed. I mean 9. Allow from the public also. All traffic from public subnet security group. This one. And also ICMP I am allowing from everywhere. Okay, all ICMP from anywhere for now. Okay, so public and private both have done, right, in VPC2. So inbound rule, ICMP, anything, and all traffic from both the security groups. Okay, ICMP from everywhere, and private of VPN 1 also I did all ICMP and within two security group of that VPC, public and private, and likewise VPC2 public and private, I'm allowing everything. Okay, so let's see what happens now. So we are on this one. So it is saying it is started pinging now. So what is happening now? So where are we now? We are on the 10 dot. Okay. So what did we do? So we said we are on this server now, VPC2 public subnet server. Okay, this server we are on. If config. So we are on the 10.2.10.95. From here, I am pinging the private server, private subnet server of this VPC2, which is 10.2.1.63. So this is ping. I cannot ping inter-VPC yet because inter-VPC peering is not there, inter-VPC routing is not there. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want to ping private subnet 10.1.1.29, ping 10.1.1.29. So I will not be able to ping it, and this is what we are going to do now. Okay, so we need to create the VPC peering first of all. So let's see if I can create a VPCs. You got two VPCs, correct? So VPC prod 1, VPC prod 2 between. So let's go to diagram again. So let me put this kind of thing, and as a let's give it a color, different color, black colored. Weight, just little bit more weight basically. So I'll say it as a VPC peering. VPC peering we need to create, otherwise we can't communicate between one VPC to another VPC. Okay, so this is what we are going to do now. Okay, so how do we do that? So let's go to, okay, and there will be an option of the peering. Where is that gone? Peering connection here, peering connection. Okay, so peering connection. So connect, create peering connection. Okay, so we can create some task here. Let's move a little bit more here. So we are doing the creating peering connection. Okay, so what are we doing? So let's name it as something. So peering connection, let's say that PCX. Okay, web prod VPC1 to web prod VPC2. Okay, this is the name I'm giving. Where? So we know what we're doing here, and let's go whatever it is. Okay. Okay, so this is the name I'm giving to this connection, and let's make it a little bit more small and bold it. Okay, this is the name I'm giving. So VPC1 to VPC2, it is going web prod. Okay, now in the VPC there will be one requester, one will be acceptor. Okay, so let's say I am VPC1 is my requester. So VPC1 is requesting to VPC2. So you're getting the point here. The point here is that, I mean, anybody can, create the VPC peering and start, communicating between two different
It's a
VPCs.
bidirectional communication, right? From VPC one
Yeah,
to
it will
VPC
be bidirectional. The point here is this: there is a security measure here, okay? That not by default anybody can just come and by hook, just create the VPC peering and start copying the data. There will be security breach, right? So there is a requester. Then that guy will have to accept it. Boss, I don't want to accept. Why should I accept the VPC? Who is creating the VPC peering? It's an attack on the network, right? So there will be requester. Then he will accept it. Okay. So 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 I'll just write it here, okay? One VPC will be and other will be accepted. Okay, so let's do that. So my VPC one is requester, okay, and it is saying the CIDR attached here is 10.1.0.0.0, correct? Select another VPC to pair with. It is in the same account, right? So you see that this is my account I showed you yesterday. There were two accounts created. So whatever I'm doing right now, I am doing in the single account. We have named that account as AWS SR Prod. So I'm doing the same. Okay. Is this in the same region, EUS2? Yes, it is in the same region. Okay. Now he will say VPC acceptor ID. So this is the VPC2, which will be acceptor, right? So name is a peering connection PCX blah blah blah, and the create the peering connection. So this peering connection, if I now see it here, yeah, pending acceptance, this will still not work. So I need to go to, okay, so VPC connection. This is what we need to do. I will pending acceptance. Okay, so because I am in the same account, correct? So I can accept it. So I go to peering connection. Okay, my both the VPCs are in the same account, right? So I go to action. Sorry, I need to select and I accept it. Okay, so I accept the request. Are you sure you want to accept this VPC peering? So you understand, right? So from the training point of view, from the demo or these things, testing, it's not how it should be. So everybody should know that who is requesting me. Everybody can access everybody, right? We don't want that kind of things. That's why we are creating so many VPCs. That's why we are creating so many accounts, so that there is a separation in all the entities. Okay, let's see this. So requester is this VPC1, acceptor is this, okay, and requester CIDR is this, and acceptor CIDR will come when we accept it. So let's accept the request. So now it is active. Okay, so we have done one part of it. Okay, so where are we? So it is still not pinging because we have done. We have done the routing. So what is here? So let's see what's happening. Route table. Let's go to the route table of, correct. See, he's saying modify my route tables now. So established. So if I go back to my diagram here, so I have connection from this VPC to this VPC, but routing is still not there. We have done just one step. Okay, so let's see what is the routing here. So let's select this, okay, and go to routing table. So you do not have any routing tables in this region. This VPC connection is referenced in the route in the following route table. Where is it? Route table ID, nothing. Okay, so now we go to the actual route table now. Where is the route table? Here. So how many route tables now we have other than the default? So we had one route table for this public subnet, correct? We had one route table for this for private here, and we have this public subnet and private. So 4 route tables we need to modify in order to have the connections from each other. Okay, so right now I am pinging what I'm pinging. So I am pinging 10.1.1. I am pinging this from this public to this private. So I'm pinging from this server, which is in the VPC to public server VPC1. So let's modify these route table first. So route table public of VPC2 and route table private of VPC1. These two let's modify first. Okay. After this, we will be able to see the because security group we have already allowed the ICMP, so we should be able to see the ping. So let's see the VPC2 public subnet first. Okay, this route table, correct? So subnet associated we have already done. So subnet association is not an issue. So now we need to do the, so currently route is what 10.2.00, which is routing through local. So we need to provide for 10.1.0 also. So what is the subnet 10.1. I can do this also. Okay, 10.1.0.0/16. Okay, so I am doing the entire VPC to VPC communication. Okay, and that's the easier way of doing it. Okay, now if I look here, you should have the peering connection option here, peering connection. And when I see peering connection, it will say which peering connection. It will never be there if we don't create it. So this is what I'm doing. Okay, so actually let's modify all four of them. Okay, first modify these two. So I've done public and the VPC2. Let's do the private and the VPC1. So private in the VPC1, this one. Okay, so my ping will still not work. Okay, so it is still not. So route.
So you have done anything in the route table as well? Like you, after you did the peering connection?
No, this is route table we are working now, na?
Okay.
So all
I mean, here we need to associate that peering connection here in the route table or what?
Route table so okay, what is the routing, right? Routing, you have a destination, right? Let's say 10 dot something something or 000, whatever it is. Then you say how to go. What is your next hop? That's what you define, right?
Correct.
In the AWS terminology, we call it as a target basically. What is next hop? Is your next hop can be many things. So we have done.
Okay.
So we have done the modified this routing table. We told them to go to this VPC 10.1. Sorry, did I do wrong? Which one we did? Public subnet of VPC2 route. No, 10.1. Sorry, I was right. Okay, I thought I did wrong.
Okay.
So I'm now
we can assign for each subnet as well. That means
you can do subnet level or you can do the entire VPC. You know, instead of the subnet, why should I do the subnet? You know, if I need to communicate the entire VPC, right? Why do I create? Sorry, I'm not doing the creating the route table. I'm modifying it. Okay, so I'm going to the private subnet of VPC1. Okay, edit routes. So there is only one route here, correct? Which says that private subnet says within VPC you can communicate locally. Your target, say target is your next hop basically in the routing terminology. Okay, your target is local, right? So I am now adding the 10.2 2.0.0/16. The moment I do this, I will have ping starting, right? So what is my now target? See, so many targets you can have, like your core network, egress only gateway, or your internet gateway, you know, load balancer, NAT gateway. There are so many things. So we are talking about it, even the transit gateway, right? So let's do the peering connection here, okay? And same peering connection. So now my ping will start. Ideally, see, ping is starting now. You see this? The ping has started now. So what we have done? But so right now I am able to ping from this server, correct? So this server, I can access this server, okay? And likewise, I should be able to ping from here to here also because I've done the routing. Now, and within VPCs, I am able to ping from this server to this server. I could ping. So now let's do the, you know, here to here and here to here also. So two more routing table we need to update. Let me first ping from this public server VPC2 to one of these servers of public server 10.1. Something. Okay, let me see the IP address. Let me try to ping the Windows Wala server 10.1.2. 10.210. So from this server, I'm pinging this RDP server. Okay, let's continue the ping. Work because we have to do the routing. So we go here, route table. Okay, and now modify the let's modify the public subnet VPC1 route table, and we say edit routes. So currently there is one default route which goes to internet gateway, one is within VPC which goes locally. So let's add for the other VPC 10.2.0.0/16 which goes via the peering connection. Correct? And the last one we need to add, which is VPC2 private subnet. No, private subnet. Oh no, actually it should work because I'm not pinging from the private. Public I had already added, right? So I still need to modify that one, but your ping will start now because I'm pinging from public to public. So public I had already modified for the VPC2. So ping has started, okay? But I still need to put this route here in the private subnet routing table of the VPC2. Let's do that. Okay. I just actually we have done for this week what we wanted to cover, almost everything except one thing, which is the NAT gateway. If you have time for half an hour or 20-30 minutes, I can cover that NAT gateway and probably the egress gateway, egress only gateway also. Okay, so then we are done for this week. Are you okay, or that will not take much time? So peering connection, so that's I'm done. Okay, so all 4 subnets are modified. So this means I can ping from here to here any machines. Okay, from public to private and public of the other VPC, and likewise from the private to public and private VPCs of both the subnets. I can crisscross communication can now happen. So VPC peering is simple concept. Okay, so inter VPC communication, you need to have VPC peering first of all between the 2 VPCs, okay, or whatever the number of VPCs you got. Then you define the routing table. You tell from one subnet to another subnet or one VPC to another VPC how to go to the other VPC through the your next hop, or target is your peering connection, whatever you have created basically. So are you happy so far, guys? Yeah. So quickly, let me just check the time. So is UK time is 13:25. Okay, so 1:30. If you have time, I can do 2 more things, small things by the way. One is a NAT gateway, one is the egress only gateway, and that will cover for this week. If you have at least half an hour, I don't think it will take more than half an hour. Are you happy with that? Hello?
No, Subodh, I have to go out actually.
Because next week, the topics will be different. So I want to finish these ones first, otherwise then again creating, I may have deleted all these instances or maybe something like that. You're getting my point, right? What I'm saying. Shakir, I'll ask Shakir because he's the guy, he has some work and all those things.
Yes, sir. But no issues. I'm at home now.
Okay, okay, fine. So Rahul, you okay as well, right? And Gauss, you as well, right?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, let's do that quickly then. Okay, so I don't think it will take much time. Okay, let's wrap it up. Okay, so I am now going to do the egress only gateway. Okay, so I will say what's happening. I created this multiple VPCs. Oh, actually okay, fine. I delete. Let me just delete this one. So I'll say egress only gateway. Okay. Egress only internet gateway, actually it's not egress only internet gateway. Okay, this one, what I will do, I will attach this with the this one, this guy, private subnet server of the VPC1. Okay. So let's first of all let's get into this this server Linux machine first. Okay, and how do we go here? So we have multiple ways of going here. Let me go. Okay. Yeah, let's disconnect from the my current connection. So I am in the, okay, I'm not in that. So let me first go to my, so let me first go to this Linux machine. So this is my jump server, you can say. From here I will go here. Okay, so let's do that. So, and I'll show you what I'm trying to achieve basically. Okay, so let me see what is the public IP address of my Linux machine in the VPC1. So I'm going to VPC1. Okay, load it so that I don't need to get the, so I will connect. Okay, so I'm in the, I'm connected here. Got it. From here I'm on this server now. Okay, from here I will hop on this server. Okay, so of the VPC1, which is 10.1.129. So I will say SSH key name also, okay, a -i command. 1 second. So this there's a key here, right? So let me SSH, and you need to give that with the option of -i. -i means input of that key number. Okay, keep here, and then you define what server you're going. So I'm going to 10.1.129. So I am inside this server now, 10.1.1.29. Okay, what I'm trying to achieve here, guys, I am trying to achieve the egress only gateway kind of things. Okay, so let's ping something. Okay, let's ping google.com for example. Okay, let's keep it pinging. So it will not ping right now. Okay, so let's create a egress only gateway here. Okay, so let's create that. Let's say, oh, sorry, egress only internet gateway. Yeah, so let me name it as EOI. So this EOIGW. Okay, correct. So that we know what we're saying. So let's name it as like that. And let's make it a little bit different font here. Maybe, yeah, 18. So 18 14 कर देते हैं. Okay, and let's name it as WPVIGW. So instead of IGW, I'll put it as EOIGW. Okay, and the same name we'll give, and we will associate this one with the private, this one. Okay, and obviously this is always connected to internet. Yeah, so with that we don't need to do, but it is always there. Okay, let's create this, guys. So in egress only internet gateway, let's see what name, WPVEOIGW1, and select VPC. Which VPC? VPC1 we are creating. Okay, and let's create it. Got it? So this is created, and this is there. Okay, that's a simple creation. After that, you need to modify the route table. You remember that route table, right? So we are talking about the private subnet of VPC1 route table, this one. So currently there is only local subnet route which is switching locally and for the other VPC, but it doesn't know how to go out. So my ping is not working right now. So I'm in that server, Linux server, internally private subnet, but it doesn't know how to go out. So let me create any route, and I will say I can go internet gateway also, by the way. Okay, so but I'm not going.
You can put internet gateway as well, right? Here.
Actually, I don't know whether no internet gateway may not work. I don't know whether it will work or not. I need to see this. Okay, so one is the NAT gateway, one is the EIG egress only internet gateway. I think it will probably not work as well. Let's see that. Okay, the reason it will not work is because see what he's saying. There was an error. All changes have been reverted. Cannot create an egress only IPv4 out. So this is something new. As I said, no, this is recently they have added this thing. So cannot create an egress only internet gateway for an IPv4 prefix. Oh, this is for the IPv6 looks like. Okay, so that is the reason it is. What even if I say
Yeah,
IP?
correct. That is only for IPv6. Looks like. Yeah.
See if it is IPv6. Okay, so the IPv6 only it can go. Okay, but ping is not working, right? The reason, okay, it is. Can it go? What is the IPv6? NS lookup. Google.com. They will have the public. Uh, hmm. Okay, so there are public IP address of this also. No, let me try to ping this guy.
I think for IPv4, we, as you said, NAT gateway is something we need to use. I think.
I know NAT Gateway is. I know NAT Gateway. The NAT Gateway is the correct solution basically. This one Egress Gateway, I was thinking that can work or not. That will not work. Okay, so my apologies. So I'll just revert it back. Okay, so I'll just say that Egress only Internet Gateway. Okay, so I'll say works for IPv6 only. Okay, for outbound internet access. It will not work for IPv4. Okay, so that's my apology. So you cannot have it working, but yes, you can have it working if you have a public IP associated here, but there is no public IP here also. Okay, so what we will do, I'll just tag it here. Okay, I mean the diagram is not wrong, so you can still connect like this, and you can remove this routing from here. Okay, you can still work that way. Okay, but what we will do now is the last one topic for today, and then we are done for this course. For this one, we will do the NAT gateway. This is important, NAT gateway. Okay, NAT gateway is the one where you go out. NAT gateway. Okay, so NAT gateway, I'll have to remove this thing first of all. Okay, this is not required. This is not required. This is not required. So what happens NAT gateway is basically you create a gateway within public subnet. Okay, because your private servers will remain in the private network only, right? You don't want them to be exposed to the outside world for the inbound connection, correct? So this is for the outbound connection only. Okay, so it is like your router, right? Your router has a one to many routing, correct? In the Cisco terminology we call it as PAT, port address translation, right? So you come from the inside network, you have hundreds of laptop or the PCs, and they go out with a single IP address, right? Like your home gateway also. So this is called the NAT gateway. So let's create a NAT gateway here. Okay, so NAT gateway we can create in any of the public subnet. I can create in the third. Let's create in the third subnet basically. Okay, okay, let's create that into the third subnet. Sorry. Okay, so that we know what we are doing. So let's call it as, not call it as, it is subnet 3 only. Let's work on the subnet 3. Okay, you remember there was subnet 3 also. We haven't worked on anything on the subnet 3. So let's work on that one. Okay, so let's create a NAT gateway. So let me revert back my egress only gateway also, because this is not required. I don't think I can remove it now because there is a route associated. I'll have to modify the route. So that route was in the private subnet of the VPC1, and that will be invalidated. You see that this is invalidated now because we have removed it. So I need to remove this route. Okay, save changes. All right. So now let's create the NAT gateway. NAT gateway is the it's a very important, it's a very simple thing. Basically, it's a what are you doing? One to many translation. Okay, or many to one translation. Okay, it is simple. They're doing. Okay, let's give it a name. So let's put in this color only. Okay, so we will call it NGW, and okay, and we'll call it as WPV NGW1.
NAT gateway is per VPC, right? Or we can assign for multiple VPCs also.
No, you can't assign. So we are creating this VPC, no? So we WPV NGW1. So WPV NGW1. Actually, you can assign to, and it's at the subnet level basically. It's not at the VPC level. Okay. So I'll say NAT gateway.
The NAT gateway is subnet level. Okay.
Level. So this is at the subnet level. Okay. So any subnet you can assign, whether it is a in fact I can actually assign it to VPC2. Let's do that way. Correct? Let's do that way. Okay. So I will take this one. Okay. So I'll create this in the VPC2. Okay. VPC2. No, actually there are two VPCs now. So this is the problem. Okay, let's create in the VPC one. Let's keep it simple. Okay. We can create there also because we are creating this one. Okay. So this one we are creating in the third subnet. You remember there was a third public subnet, VPC1. So this is where we are creating, correct? Now connectivity type. Select a connectivity type for the NAT gateway. So this is for the public or private, but obviously we are talking about the public here because we want to go out. Okay, but you can have inside communication also with this NAT gateway, right? You might have seen the organization, right? So you have the netting inside network also, right? Not just for the public network. So you can have the private also if you want. Okay, but that will not be reachable from the internet, right? Which we are fine. So we are doing the public right now. Okay, and elastic IP allocation. Now this is important for NAT gateway. Now what you are doing, please understand, for this NAT gateway is going out directly to the internet. Okay, so if I represent this NAT gateway is going out to internet directly here. Okay, this has nothing to do anything with the IGW. IGW you still need to connect the servers from the outside to inside, right? But I'm talking about this server is going out via, sorry. So this server is going out via this NAT gateway to out internet. So I need to have a elastic IP address. Okay, this cannot have the dynamic IP address. So yesterday we said about the elastic IP address. So we need to create one elastic IP address. So elastic IP address, you remember what was the elastic IP address? Batao?
Static IP.
Yes. Elastic IP. This is fixed public IP. Public, yeah. Public is also important. Okay. So now we will create the elastic IP. So allocate, we don't have anything here. So either I can allocate from here or I can create. So let me create basically. Okay. Let me go to the quickly into the VPC. Let me create that. Okay. So elastic IP addresses are chargeable, by the way, because okay. So let's create quickly and we'll remove it later on. Okay. So we create the elastic IP address, and you need to remember what you have created. Okay. So elastic IP address. So allocate elastic IP address. So I go. So EUS2 two region I'm there, and I'm Amazon pool of IP addresses. Okay. By the way, you can bring your own IP addresses if you want. If you have a routing public IP addresses in the Amazon. Okay, they can do that as well. Okay, so but I'm not doing that. So let's create this. Allocate. What happens here? So I got one fixed IP address 52. This is my IP address now. Okay, I can use it for any purpose. So let me name it as what? EIP1. Okay, let me say AWS prod. I'm saying my account number. Okay, prod 1 EIP AWS. Okay, this is the account number. Okay, I've created this public IP address. So let me just take information about it, and in the my sheet here, server info, I'll just save this information also. Okay, and IP address is this one. Okay, so allocation ID is this, and actual IP address is this one. This one. Okay, I'll say that elastic IP address. I've created this one. So 52, 56, 86, 29. Okay, now I go back here, and I should be able to see. If I'm not able to see it, then I need to refresh or something like that, right? So let's say again VPC one public subnet. If I can, now I get it, right? I need to refresh basically somehow. Okay, so I got that here, correct? So I assign that IP here, and I have given this NAT Gateway NGW1, and I create this NAT Gateway. Okay, so this is one part I've done. Okay, now I need to tell in the routing of this subnet how to go out. So what I will say, I will go to routing now. Okay, route table of private subnet, this route table, private subnet, right? Currently, what do I have here? So I have only two routes. One is that locally within that VPC, one is to the second VPC. Now I will create the route for to go out 0000, for example, internet, right? How do I go out? I do go out through the NAT gateway. So this is my NAT gateway, and I give the NAT gateway number. And moment I do this, my ping should start. So let me see my screen here. So let me just start pinging again to google.com. Okay, and see what happens. So save the changes. I should be able to see in ideal world. If it is not happening, then there is something wrong somewhere. So first of all, am I on the right machine? Probably yes. 8.8.8.8. So what is happening? Where is the problem now? So let's go to the route table first. So private subnet VPC1 route table. I said to go out, you go to the NAT gateway. Propagated no. Subnet association. Okay. So subnet is my all the three subnets of the private subnet, which is good. Route propagation. So route table basic route table name is VPC. This internet gateway. Okay. Okay. There is the internet gateway attached here. So that's the only thing we have got. Okay. So changes. So there's nothing to change. So it will not change anything. Route propagation. Okay. Route propagation. Okay.
So we need to remove the internet gateway attached into that. We only attach the NAT gateway.
No. NAT gateway. No, actually it is pinging. Sorry, I think. Oh, I needed to wait basically. Okay, I didn't wait. So it's pinging now. Okay. No. So okay, I'll tell you what is the difference. What is happening here? Okay. So nothing. No changes I've made. Okay. So as I was trying to do this, but this is not. So only change I made was route. Right. In the routing table of the private subnet, I said to go out anywhere in the world, go through the NAT gateway. So what I did. So let me also write here. Modify route table of the private subnet. Okay. To to go next hop, or in AWS they call it target as NAT Gateway. So basically what is happening here, Kaja, is basically you have this setup already there, internet gateway. Yeah. So
Yeah.
these machines are going internet via the internet gateway and coming in also, inbound and outbound both. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And this one, so this is a new NAT gateway which is sitting inside this subnet, public subnet 3. In the public subnet 3 we don't have anything yet. We didn't have anything yet, right? We had public subnet 1, public subnet 2. So we didn't have anything. So we have placed this NAT gateway in the public subnet 3, okay, and NAT gateway by default goes out, so we don't need to create anything. You saw that, right? We just created NAT gateway, we just gave the name, that's it, we did, right?
So it means NAT gateway only allows outbound connection, internet gateway allows both inbound and outbound.
Internet gateway is for both inbound and outbound. NAT gateway is only doing one to many or many to one NAT. It can be for both internal and external IP address. Okay, let me just say that. Okay, NAT gateway can be created for public IP or private IP, both. If you want to access then public IP statically through the EIP, elastic IP address. Without elastic IP address, it will not work. So you need to have one elastic IP. If I can just place something later.
I can use the same NAT gateway for another subnet in a different VPC.
Yeah. So let me show that example also to you, okay? Because this is also important. So let me say, okay, let me show that example. I'm not putting the diagram here, okay? So basically, okay, up to this point you are clear, right? So this is still pinging, right? So my ping is working, right? So this NAT gateway, where is the NAT gateway one? NAT gateway. Remember this NAT gateway. So if I action edit view details, delete NAT gateway, secondary IP address. So NAT gateway is this, primary IP address is blah blah blah. Subnet I am assigned here basically. Okay, let me see if I can change the second subnet assignment here or not, because I action edit. Okay, I can only assign the secondary IP address. I cannot associate the subnet here. So I will have to delete it. So let's delete it. Okay, let's delete this and let's delete it. Delete. Okay, delete. Got it? I have deleted. Actually, yeah, deleting. It is in deleting. Okay. So I'll create another one. And by the way, elastic IP address if I see, I have one elastic IP address. I should have actually elastic IP address. Loading elastic IP addresses. So there will be one here. Okay. Yeah. So you see that my IP address is not changing yet. So ping is working. It might be still deleting, or it is, I don't know whether it's pinging or not. It's not pinging now. Okay. So yeah. So public IP will never change now. Okay. So what I do, I go to NAT gateway again. Okay. So I must have this deleted. If it is not, yeah, it is deleted now. Okay. So I create a new one. Okay. And I gave the same name. Okay. Name was okay. What is the name? So I can give web prod VPC and NGW. Let's give it a name at 2. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay, this time I'm going to create this in the where do I create this? So let me create in the pub. Actually, you can create in your own subnet also, by the way. Okay. So let me create this in the
So you're
private
creating
subnet.
one more new NAT gateway, right?
Yeah, I'm creating one more NAT gateway.
Okay.
The one I've deleted, okay, previous one. So
Okay.
I'm creating a NAT gateway 2, and this time I'm going to create in the private subnet. Okay, we should not create in the private subnet. Let's say I create in the VPC to private subnet 1. Okay, and see what happens. So this is public type and address. Why the address is not coming? Okay, address is not coming. The reason the address is not coming is basically what's happening. Refresh. How do I refresh it? Maybe that that is just still associated somewhere. So let me see. Action. Update, enable this, accept on view details. So let's see the view details. So public IP address, association ID, this scope is VPC. So this, because my public IP address, elastic IP address was created for other VPC. Okay, so this is important. So I need to create another elastic IP address for the other VPC. Okay, so I can do that.
No, but you cannot use the same elastic IP for different VPCs. That's what you're saying.
Because your scope is a VPC. So
Okay.
so let's go again. Okay, we missed something. Okay, what did we miss here? So EUST2, actually it doesn't say the VPC level. That's what I'm just wondering. Why is this? Maybe because I have that. Hold on. Let me just do.
Maybe that subnet is part of that VPC, so that's the reason it's taking that
Because
VPC.
I have private subnet इसमें आ रहा है. Okay, VPC इसमें आ रहा है. तो private subnet और VPC2 आ गया ना, because it is not released yet. I mean, it was deleting. Okay, now it has come. Got it? So I am doing in the private subnet 1, okay, of the VPC2. Okay, what happened? So I'm using the same elastic IP address. Okay, I'm creating the NAT Gateway 2 now. Okay, and let's do this one. Okay, and let's keep an eye on our ping also here. Okay, ping will not work yet. I need to modify the route table now. So I go to route table of private subnet 1 of VPC1, and I go here, I edit it. So this one is now removed, right? Because previous NAT gateway is removed. So it is still a NAT gateway, but new one. Sorry. So I need to remove this first. Okay, and I say 000 NAT gateway. What is, why is this happening? Did I create the NAT gateway yet or not? First of all, okay, IP address is this. Where is my NAT gateway gone? Oh, it is pending. So that's the problem. It takes time. So we are not waiting. So not all resources are that quick. Within minute or within second they will be created. Some takes time. Okay. So yeah. So it is pending it. So until this is pending, I can't modify this. Okay. So I can't see it. So you see this NGW1 is still there, but it will not work because it is in the state of deleted after few hours or so. So some instances when you delete, they are deleted immediately. Okay, some instances if you delete, they take up to 24 hours to remove from this screen. Okay, please note that also. Okay, let's see what happens. So it is still pending, and let's wait. Okay, let's wait.
So then theoretically it is possible to assign the NAT gateway for multiple VPCs, right?
Yeah, so let me put this diagram this way. Okay, so let me go to subnet level. We need to modify NAT gateway. Okay, I'll just put that point. Okay, NAT gateway can be assigned to any VPC and any subnet. So you can also assign it to private subnet also, but it is not a good practice, right? So I don't think there is any practical implementation of this kind of thing in the AWS in the big organization. They will not do this kind of things. They might do it only on exception basis, like if they are doing some testing or something. So let me copy this slide. Let's first see it is working or not. Okay, so first, okay, now it is available. Now I go to route table now. Okay, so let's remove it and do it one more time, because sometimes the screens are not refreshed. Okay, so NAT gateway, I should have the, see, it is not coming. Why the hell is not coming? NAT gateway. Okay, let's cancel it. So okay, let's first see the VPC to route table, if I'm seeing there or not. Ideally it should be, although this scenario is not common scenario what we are doing in the inter-VPC, to be honest. Okay, so same VPC we definitely do. It's not a common scenario, but let's, sorry, not NAT gateway. So it is there. Okay, so in the second VPC it is coming. Okay, so let's cancel it. Let's cancel this. What's happening? What happened? Okay, so it's fine. So let's see the private subnet one. Okay, so route tables. Okay, I need to remove this first and save it first. Okay, then I edit again and I say private subnet 000 NAT gateway. Okay, so this is still not coming. Okay, so this is actually, for some reason, this theoretically it is not very clear. Okay, but practically it looks like it will not allow you in the different VPC. This is what I can see, or until unless we are because, okay, let me see the public subnet table also here. Okay, first
Yeah,
of
but
all,
you assign the same NAT gateway to another subnet in another VPC. Let's see if it is working or not.
no, other VPC it is working.
Okay.
Other VPC it is able to, I can see.
Okay.
Let me check in the public time, so we don't wait also, right? So it is not coming. See, it's not coming here. Can I type something and give it? I don't know. Let me do this. Okay, let me try to type. Okay, and see. So what do I type? So I type the NAT gateway. This is my NAT gateway 2. If I click here, and this is what it is, and I go to private subnet of VPC 1. I say edit root, and I send the default root. I say NAT gateway, and give that thing. So it's saying a valid.
Maybe it's taking time to pop up or what? No, right?
I'm just trying to say. So what is saying? There was an error editing roots. All changes have been reverted. The root table and interface
Belong to different networks.
belonging to different networks. See that, I mean, wordings here. So in AWS, or even the Azure for that matter. Okay, sometimes their wordings are not correct. Okay, so when we see, you saw that, right? When we created that NAT gateway, it doesn't say that whether you are creating this VPC or that VPC. Number one. Okay, but scope is still local. It depends basically. So what it is trying to say here, if you associate that NAT gateway in a say, if you look at this routing table now here. Okay, one more time. Okay, I'm not looking at it. So if you look at the routing table of the VPC2 for private subnet or even for the public subnet, if you add again here, see NAT gateway, you will see that NAT gateway 2 is available here. So I can add it, right? And I can also add this into the public subnet of VPC2. So basically, so I go here, I edit, okay, and I add another route 000. I'm not adding, but just showing you NAT gateway. So NAT gateway 2 is here. So what's happening here is it is
Subodh, are you
actually
mentioning the private IP associated with the NAT gateway?
NAT
Which
gateway has
is
both
attached
private and NAT
to.
gateway has both public and private IP addresses. So if you look at
So
here,
the subnet one is, I mean, the VPC one is in different
yeah,
subnet,
yeah, yeah.
right?
So
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 that's
so
why.
when when you are okay, let's go to the elastic IP address first of all. Okay, elastic IP address here. Okay, so elastic IP address is only one IP address, which is a public IP address. Correct? Scope is
Correct.
public, type is public. Okay, scope is VPC. But when you go to NAT gateway, when you allocate a NAT gateway, so let's say you allocated that NAT gateway, this one for example, right? So it will have a private IP address of that subnet also, 10.2. something, blah blah blah. And this time, if you remember, we attached this NAT gateway into the private subnet, not even the public subnet. Where was it? NAT gateway. So we attach to the private subnet, this one, private subnet of the VPC2, not even the public subnet. So then it will take one private IP address, which it has taken, and there is always a public IP address of the elastic IP address. And when we do this, so what it is doing is basically you can only attach the route table of that VPC only. Okay, so it
So
has a
this private IP address is part of the VPC one, right?
no. This is not VPC one. This is 10.2. 10.2 is VPC two. Previously, when we created, it was deleted. Now it was 10.1.
Okay.
I need to modify this. Okay, sorry for that. So at subnet level, we need to allocate the modify route table for the private subnet. Go next to NAT gateway. NAT gateway can be created public. Up to this point, we are correct. This point is not correct. Okay, no, point is correct, but routing. Okay, NAT gateway can be assigned to any VPC and any subnet. Okay, number one. So basically, however,
Separate NAT gateway need to be.
you can route traffic to internet via this NAT gateway from subnets of that VPC only where it was associated to a subnet of particular VPC. So not very good wording, but you are getting what I'm trying to say, right? So whatever subnet you assign, it goes there basically. Okay. So, but not the good point. The main point here is that this NAT gateway can also be in the private subnet. That's what I'm saying. So here also, and you go directly from here. So you don't need any internet gateway. So you can do here also. So what we were talking about, the egress, it's kind of egress type of thing, but egress is more very recent. It was not there before when I was doing this AWS thing. It was very recently added. So egress is more of a this thing, but I don't know. I mean, there should be an option of modifying it, to be honest, but looks like there is no option here, so I cannot modify it. Okay, we are done. Okay, so only thing what I was saying, elastic IP address. So we have actually created the elastic IP today. The only thing what we could do, we can assign this. If I delete this, let's say I delete this NAT gateway also now. Okay, let's delete this. Okay, delete this. Okay, so when I delete it, so it will release me my public IP address. Okay, once it is showing deleted. The point I'm saying here is that so EC2 instances, right? You remember that you have multiple EC2 instances. Let's say EC2 instance of the RDP server, this one. Okay.
I think we need to have multiple NAT gateways only for this thing because it doesn't. Yeah.
Multiple NAT gateway for what?
For each subnet or for each VPC. That's what the AWS documentation is talking about. I just saw it.
Need NAT gateway for basically.
Yeah, it is reading out like this on AWS. Let's say I have 3 private subnets in 3 different availability zones, and I want all of them to be able to access the internet through a NAT gateway. AWS guides suggest having separate NAT gateways and bastion nodes for each subnet.
So there is suggestion, okay, but ideally for each VPC you can have one NAT gateway only.
Oh,
You
for
don't.
entire PC. Okay. Hmm.
You saw that, right? So we created this NAT gateway in the public subnet, right?
Subnet. Correct.
And obviously it got the public IP address also of a private IP address of this subnet 10.130. So if you look at NAT gateway here, the first one, right? This
Correct.
one, this one.
But if I want to have one more subnet, then I cannot use the same NAT gateway, right? That's my point. If you have one more public subnet, for example, 10.1.40.0.
No. So you create only one NAT gateway, correct? So I mean this NAT gateway is deleted, but it will still show in the routing table. Okay, let's see it here. Okay, let's see. I am in the routing table of public subnet. Private subnet of VPC1, right? I create here and I edit the route. I say anywhere, go to my NAT gateway and NAT gateway this. Even though it is deleted, but it does not exist. Okay, what I'm saying is that you can modify this and public also to go via the NAT gateway if you want.
Okay,
But you will not like
subnets.
that because NAT public subnet is already through the internet gateway. It will conflict. But if you have multiple private subnet, they all can go through that NAT gateway if you want.
Okay.
You got the point, right? So, okay, what I was saying is the EC2 instance. Okay, so this EC2 instance action, if you go here, networking, right? For networking, if you go, say, manage IP addresses. Okay, if I can. So, this is my private IP address will come from here, instance ID, blah, 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 allow secondary IP address. Okay, actually, there's a way of detaching and attaching the new IP address. So public so in the Azure and AWS there are lots of things are so much that you need to read the actual documentation. Like this particular thing has a scope within this account, this thing has a scope within the VPC. So some things are very clear, some things until unless you do it you will probably not know it. Okay, so where are we now? So here, open address. So this is what I'm saying. You can actually public RDP server. Let's say I stop this instance. Okay, RDP server. Okay, I stop this. Okay. So there is a way of changing this public IP address, and you can. Yeah, I'm disconnected from the RDP, which is fine. Okay, that's okay. So if I go to networking, yeah. Okay, so public IP address subnet is blah blah blah. Network interface. Yeah, this is network interface. ENI. Yeah, elastic IP address. This is the elastic IP address. Okay. No elastic IP address with this instance. Okay. So I can actually modify. One is that in the beginning when you create the instance, right? So when you launch the instance, there you can let's say I'm not creating right now, I'm just showing. Okay, but I'm not creating. So server 1, for example. Okay, so here what you do is, why all of a sudden sometimes my system becomes damn. Okay, so here, okay, so you create, let's say something, server 1, for example. Okay, and you say whatever, Linux or Windows, doesn't matter. So here, network settings, when you go to network settings, okay, so basically network settings, yeah, here, okay, you edit this section, you say auto assign public IP address, right? So this is where whether public IP automatically assigned to the parameter, you assign public, disabled. Okay, so you created with the public IP address here, and if you go to the where is it? Let me create one more. Okay, EU West 2. Okay, global create. Let me do one more. Okay, does it say name? Okay, it will say name, allocate. Okay, and elastic IP address, refresh, and I'll say this for example. So I go here, yeah, associate, because so this one is probably still not disassociated from the this NAT gateway, because it takes time. Okay, so it will be, I will be able to do. Oh, actually now I am able to do this one also. Okay, it takes time, but so this is where he was saying. So instance type. So I go. So you see that these. So one I just talked public RDP, this one. So I'm going to instance this one. Okay. The private IP address with which associate to the elastic IP address is same 10 to 1. Okay, and I associated this one instance. So now when I go to my instance here, okay, I refresh it. Yeah, RDP server. So now you see this 52. So if I start it, let me start it, okay, and see this action. Let me quickly start this server, and let me connect to this through RDP to this server now. Okay. So it will take time to start basically. So it is not pending. Okay. Let's wait for 1 minute, and then after this we are done for this course anyways for today this week. Okay. Let's quickly do this one. So let's go back to, while this is happening, let's go back to our topics, contents. So we have done VPC, subnets, availability zones, security groups, NACL, VPC, internet gateway, NAT gateway, elastic IP address, internet route table. So up to this point we have done. Okay. So VPC peering, did I write somewhere? Yeah, this is done. So this is all done, right? So next week we will do these things. Okay, load balancers we will do. EC2 we have done. Okay, so EC2 is the nothing but we have done. So load balancers, VPN gateway, transit gateway, VPC endpoint we'll see, and some little bit of the route 53 and a bit of theory of the direct connect. I'll show you what it is basically, how it is in the actual world, how direct connect is connected on the your local between on-prem and this one. So let me see if I'm connected now. So I'm now there. Okay, let me put the administrator somewhere. So I should be inside that RDP server. You got it now. So now whether I reboot my server, restart, whatever I do, my this IP address will always remain static for this particular server. Okay, so this is the important information.